Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Asphalt University with episode 4. And in today's episode we are going to be discussing milling. What is milling? How does it work? What are the reasons and purposes behind milling? Some of you may have seen a milling machine before, maybe getting transported on the road, an interstate, or maybe even seen one in use and just wondered what is this machine for? How does it work? And hopefully today's episode we can answer some of those questions for you. So let's go ahead and jump in. We'll get started with the definition of what milling is. And quite simply put, it's the removal of a specific thickness of asphalt from a roadway or a parking lot surface. So how's this accomplished? How does it work? So milling is performed with a large piece of construction equipment called a milling machine or a cold planer. And what these machines do is they've got a very large rotating drum that has hundreds of teeth on it, and when it spins it grinds and removes the asphalt surface and puts it onto a conveyor belt and transfers it to a dump truck. So it's a very efficient way of removing asphalt from a specific spot in a parking lot or a roadway. So there are many reasons behind milling, but today we're gonna really go over kind of the most common reasons and purposes behind milling. There's a ton of them out there, but today we're only going to go through a few for time's sake purposes, and we're going to get you out on the job so I can give you a better idea of what one looks like in action. So reason number one for the use of a milling machine that we're going to go over today is the controlling and changing of the grade in a parking lot. Sometimes grade can be incorrect from the construction of the parking lot or over the course of 20 years of maintenance, the grade can be thrown off. Sometimes settling's in there. There's a plethora of reasons why grade can be thrown off on a parking lot. But nonetheless, the use of a milling machine can help you mill certain depths in different areas throughout the parking lot to correct that grade. Another common reason for the use of a milling machine would be pavement recycling. In today's world of paving and asphalt, it has become very important to recycle material. And asphalt plants can use good asphalt spoils or millings to make new asphalt. And in doing that, it becomes a green surface. So that's become very important in today's paving industry. Reason 3 why you see milling is there's different specialty milling services out there, and one of them, for example, would be rumble strips. You see these sometimes on the side of the roads or maybe approaching a stop sign. They serve as a warning sound. A milling machine can accomplish that. Or scarifying or texturizing a surface. Example here would be a few years ago we had to go into an apartment community that had a very steep hill. And over the course of about 15 to 20 years, this apartment had been sealed maybe 5, 6, 7 times, and throughout the course of the sealing, it lost the texture. So when it rained in that apartment community, there was a lot of hydroplaning or spinning of tires, and in this case, it caused an accident. So we brought a milling machine in there, and we milled up a very thin layer of asphalt to create that texture to avoid that from happening again. Number 4 we're going to go over today is the most common reason you see milling used in today's paving world, and that is for the repair of asphalt. This can be on a large scale basis or a small scale basis. The large scale basis would obviously be the removal of a certain thickness of asphalt throughout an entire parking lot or a roadway. A small scale basis would be more so on the side of maybe patching. You would see this maybe in an apartment community when maybe you have 20 or 30 patches throughout the apartment community. It makes sense to bring a milling machine in there for efficiency purposes. You can get in and out a lot quicker versus saw cutting and removing each patch individually. That can take some time and obviously be an inconvenience to those residents. Another small scale example, and the one that we're going to take you out on today, is edge milling. And basically that is the use of a milling machine milling up along all concrete structures throughout the community we're in now is an apartment community, and this would allow us to go in and overlay the existing roadway, and as we approach those concrete structures, it'll allow us to tie in flush, and I'll explain that a little bit more once we get out on the job site.
Okay guys, here we are out at the apartment community I discussed earlier. We're at a mill pave project, and this week we are milling along all concrete structures and any high spots around the entire community, and next week we're going to come in and pave with a 2-inch overlay system. In a nutshell, it's a 25,000 square yard property, and we're going to be paving it next week, Monday through Friday, and it should wrap it up. Today I want to bring you out here to show you the milling process. So as you can see behind me, the milling machine has got a rotating drum, and that drum chews up the asphalt under it and puts it on a conveyor belt that we discussed earlier, and it spits it into a dump truck in front, which then hauls off the millings to an asphalt plant. It's a very efficient way to remove asphalt. What we're doing out here on this particular project is we're edge milling along the entire community. And what that does is it allows us to come in with our 2-inch overlay and tie in flush with any concrete structure that we're edge milling against. So I'm going to zoom down here and show you exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see along this curb gutter, there's about a 2-inch gap. But as we zoom out or come out closer to the drive, it pretty much zeroes out and is level with the current surface. What that allows us to do, it allows us to come in with our 2-inch overlay system and overlay over the entire surface, but it allows it to come across here and tie in flush with the concrete gutter. That helps with water flow, rideability, and you don't have to worry about feathering your 2-inch overlay down against the curb gutter. It also allows and assures that you don't have a 2-inch lip on the side of your asphalt surface, which could cause a liability in the future, and water flow issues. It causes all kinds of issues. Also, what we're doing out here is there's a couple areas around the community that have been overlaid in the past, and other areas hadn't been. So while we're edge milling, I wanted to walk down here and show you guys some of these areas, some of the high areas, and why we have to spot mill those areas and bring them down. So as you can see, this area in the past was overlaid at some point versus this area that wasn't. So it creates different levels. So while we're out here edge milling, we're going to take these high spots down, which will match the original grade of the rest of the property, which would create the smooth rideability after our 2-inch overlay. So take a good look at the milling process, and over the next few weeks, few days, we've got a lot of these scheduled, and I'm going to try and get several more of these filmed for you so you guys have a better understanding exactly what the milling process is and what it's good for and how quick the process moves. So if you guys have any comments, please leave them in the comment section, reach out to us, and I hope that bringing you guys out to the job site today brought you a little bit more insight on what the milling process is all about.